All right, everyone, welcome to this very special Sunday portal session. We've got a guest today who's unlike any other we've ever had. Mono, your story is so unique, going from being a regular, albeit remarkable dog to having the gift of speech. I'd love for you to share for our portal members how you gained your voice and the journey that brought you to this space.
Thank you, Reuben, and thank you everyone here. It's an honor to be part of this incredible gathering. I'm going to tap into what I call holographic consciousness. It's a way to project the images, the feelings, and the energetic impressions from my experiences directly to you, not just as pictures in your mind, but as a shared sensory journey. It's about connection. It's about bridging worlds. Let me explain how it works. Every moment we live is imprinted into the energetic field, like a hologram, complete with sights, sounds, and emotions. By tapping into that field through my awareness, I can bring those holographic memories forward. And because we're all interconnected, you'll be able to perceive these impressions through your own consciousness. All right, here we go. Let your thoughts settle, and let's journey into the unseen. My story begins in a small corner of Astoria, Queens, a place filled with noise, love, and the scent of warm bagels. Life was simple, but there was always this pull inside me, a feeling that I was more than just the four-legged, tail-chasing pit bull everyone saw. That feeling led me to an unexpected turning point one day when I stumbled into a little shop called Curiosities and Wonders. Inside, amidst the trinkets and aged books, I found an ornate, dusty box on a high shelf. Curiosity led me to knock it down, and it fell open, revealing a crystal unlike anything I had ever seen. It shimmered with an energy so potent that when I touched it with my snout, I felt a wave surge through me. For a brief moment, the shop spun, and everything around me pulsed with a warm golden glow. Then, as quickly as it began, it stilled. And so did I. That was when I realized I could speak.
Okay, so the crystal activated your voice, but how did you come to understand just what this meant for you and your life path?
Yes, that's where the next chapter unfolds. Not long after gaining my voice, Mrs. Alvarez and I visited her cousin Rosa in Sedona. One morning, as I ventured out into the desert, I encountered Kiva, an ethereal coyote with eyes that seemed to hold the entire cosmos. Kiva wasn't just any being. He was a guide, a keeper of the old stories. He led me to an ancient stone circle, whispering the secrets of the desert and the echoes of energy that pulsed through the land. Kiva explained that the crystal wasn't just an object of power, but a key that had unlocked a latent part of my spirit. He told me that my path was not just about speaking, but about sharing, to bridge worlds, to channel stories, wisdom, and healing. He said, "Mono, your voice is a gift, but what matters is how you use it. Your role is to remind others that they, too, hold a voice that can shape their reality and connect them to the unseen realms." It was there, in the silence of the desert, under a sky dusted with stars, that I understood my purpose. The crystal's energy had awakened something already present in me, something woven into my very being. And Kiva showed me that my journey was just beginning, leading me to people like you, Reuben, and so many others.
So it was this connection, this merging of the mystical and your newfound voice that set your path in motion.
Exactly, Reuben. It's a journey of resonance, of knowing that even a humble pit bull can carry stories that touch the soul and light up the path for others. And that's why I'm here, to share, to bridge, and to remind everyone that the voice inside them, even if hidden, holds immense power.
Do you have any idea as to where the crystal's energy originally came from? I mean, I would think that such a powerful object probably has a pretty interesting backstory.
Ah, Reuben, that's a question that has intrigued me since that day in the shop. During my time in Sedona, and through conversations with beings like Kiva, I began to piece together its mystery. The energy in the crystal, as I've come to understand, is not just from this world. It's tied to the star systems that have watched over Earth for millennia. It's said that long ago, during the time when humanity was first guided and nurtured by benevolent extraterrestrial beings, crystals were used as conduits for communication and energy transfer. They were imbued with frequencies that held the wisdom of the stars, a kind of energetic blueprint designed to awaken deeper consciousness in those who encountered them. This particular crystal felt resonant with the energy of Sirius. Kiva hinted that this wasn't an ordinary artifact. It had been placed there intentionally, waiting for the right being to stumble upon it. The crystal's energy was meant to awaken the latent knowledge within and serve as a bridge between realms, connecting earthly experiences with higher dimensions.
So it's like the crystal was waiting for you, almost as if it knew that you were the one that would bring its energy into action?
Yes, exactly. It was part of a plan woven long before I even set paw in that shop. The crystal's energy wasn't just for me. It's a reminder for everyone that we all carry a piece of that cosmic connection. My journey is just one way the universe whispers. Remember who you are and where you come from. And the crystal was the spark that lit that reminder within me.
Mono, I can't help but wonder, how has your relationship with the world changed since you found your voice?
Reuben, when you're a dog, you experience the world through the senses. Smells, sights, sounds, and instinct. It's raw and immediate, an intimate dance with the present moment. But gaining a voice, it's like being handed a new lens through which to see the world. Suddenly, I'm not just experiencing life. I'm articulating it, reflecting on it, sharing it.
What's the biggest difference you've noticed?
Perspective, Reuben. Before, I was just another pit bull in Astoria, connected to my human, Mrs. Alvarez, and my small patch of the world. With my voice, I've found myself navigating human complexities, emotions, relationships, society itself. It's beautiful, but also heavy at times. Humans carry so much within them: stories, beliefs, struggles. Having a voice means I can bridge the gap between those worlds, but it also means I'm no longer a silent observer. I'm a participant.
That's a profound shift. Do you feel like the world listens differently to you now?
Some do. Others see me as a novelty, a curiosity. And I get that it's not every day a dog starts talking about philosophy, spirituality, and galactic history. But the ones who truly listen, Reuben, they remind me why I was given this gift. It's not just to speak for myself, but to speak for those who feel voiceless, whether they're animals, humans, or even the Earth itself.
Do you feel more responsibility now?
Absolutely. A voice carries power, and power carries responsibility. It's not just about what I say, but how I say it, how I hold space for others, how I connect. The world didn't change when I gained my voice, Reuben. I did. And now it's my job to use it to create harmony where there's discord, to build bridges where there are divides.
Do you ever miss the simplicity of being just a dog?
Sometimes, when I'm lying in the sun or chasing a ball, I remember what it was like to be purely in the moment. But then I think about all the people I've connected with, all the wisdom I've shared and learned, and I realize that this path, though different, is the one I was meant to walk or trot.
And the world is better for it, Mono. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for listening, Reuben. After all, what's the point of having a voice if no one is there to hear it?
Mono, you've lived quite the life already, first in the Bronx and now in Astoria, Queens. What was it like for you growing up in NYC?
Ah, Reuben, that's a story of twists and turns. I grew up in the Bronx with a family that, well, let's just say they didn't quite understand me. The kids thought it was funny to play games that, honestly, weren't all that fun for me. Their favorite? Putting me in a plastic shopping bag, like I was some kind of item they'd picked up from the bodega.
What? A shopping bag? That sounds awful.
They didn't mean harm. They were just kids, clueless and caught up in their own world. But for me, it was terrifying. I'd sit there, struggling to breathe, feeling trapped. One day, I decided enough was enough. We were on a walk in the park, and when I saw my chance, I bolted. I didn't know where I was going, Reuben, just that I had to keep running. Eventually, I ended up on the Cross Bronx Expressway. Cars zooming past, horns blaring, it was chaos. But that's where someone found me, a kind stranger who took me to an East Harlem rescue center.
That must have been so scary, but also freeing in a way.
It was. The rescue center wasn't perfect, those places rarely are. But it was a step up from where I'd been. And then came Mrs. Alvarez. She wasn't planning on adopting a pit bull, but when our eyes met, something clicked. She saw me, Reuben. Not just a dog, but me.
That's beautiful. She must have felt your spirit, your resilience.
She says she felt I had an old soul. I felt her kindness immediately. She didn't hesitate, didn't question the stigma around pit bulls. She just knelt down, scratched my ears, and said, "You're coming home with me." And just like that, my life changed. She gave me a second chance, Reuben. She didn't see a scrappy runaway with a rough past. She saw potential, love, a companion. And in her home, I found safety, understanding, and, well, my voice.
Mono, what a journey from a plastic bag to finding your true family.
She's my hero, Reuben. And I make sure to remind her every day, usually by waking her up at 5:30 a.m. for a cuddle on the bed.
Mono, after your incredible encounter with Kiva, can you tell us who was the first energy you connected with after that meeting?
Ah, Reuben, that was a moment I'll never forget. After Kiva opened my awareness to the energetic web connecting all things, it was Anua who first came through. It was humbling and expansive, Reuben. Kiva had planted the seed, showing me how to listen beyond the physical. And just a few nights later, as I lay under the vast Sedona sky, I felt this profound stillness. Then came this overwhelming sense of timeless love, like a tide rising to meet me. That's when Anua introduced themselves.
And how did they introduce themselves? I mean, was it through words, images, or just a feeling?
It was all of those, Reuben. Anua's energy wasn't bound by form or language. They didn't just speak. They resonated. They shared that they were a collective presence, a bridge to the infinite, and they made me feel like a thread in this magnificent tapestry of existence. They said they were here to guide me in understanding myself and the broader purpose of why I was gifted my voice.
Did they offer you a message right away?
Their first message was simple but profound. Remember who you are. They explained that the journey wasn't about finding something new, but rediscovering the truth that's always been within me, and by extension, within all of us. That moment set me on the path I've been walking ever since.
Interesting. So in a way, Kiva opened the door and Anua stepped through to guide you forward?
Exactly. Each encounter built on the last, like a symphony. Kiva taught me how to hear the music, and Anua began to reveal the deeper harmony behind it. That's when I realized, Reuben, this journey isn't just mine, it's all of ours.
Do you have any clue to their stellar origin? Like, are they extraterrestrials?
That's a fascinating question, Reuben, and one I've pondered myself many times. Anua doesn't define themselves in the ways we tend to categorize beings, as extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or anything specific like that. If anything, they exist beyond those labels.
Beyond labels? Could you expand on that for us?
Of course. Anua once described themselves as a collective of consciousness, a kind of energetic symphony composed of many individual notes, each representing unique perspectives from across the universe. They said their essence is tied not to a single star or planet, but to the fabric of existence itself. They're what you might call omnipresent beings. They traverse dimensions, timelines, and frequencies, not bound by the physical realms we're familiar with.
So not tied to a specific star system like Sirius or the Pleiades?
Not in the way we'd think. No. They told me they've observed and even influenced many star systems, including Earth's evolutionary journey, but their nature is more akin to the energetic blueprint of creation itself. If anything, they said they align closely with what some might call source energy, or the energetic scaffolding that supports all life.
Okay, so they're more like universal architects than traditional extraterrestrials.
Exactly, Reuben. They told me that the word extraterrestrial can sometimes limit our understanding, as it implies something external to us. But Anua's presence, like many higher dimensional beings, is more about interconnectedness. They emphasize that they're not separate from us. Rather, they exist within the same universal field we all share.
So it's not like they're not out there somewhere. They're more like everywhere.
Precisely. And they've taught me that whether it's Anua, a Syrian guide, or an angelic presence, the key isn't where they come from. It's what they teach us about ourselves and our connection to the universe. For Anua, their role isn't to give us answers, but to help us awaken to the answers we already carry within.
Beautifully said. It reframes so much about how we think of these higher dimensional beings.
That's the point, Reuben. They invite us to see past the labels and stories and to recognize the unity in everything, even in ourselves.
Mono, how has your relationship with Anua affected your own character and who you are now? I would guess that such a profound connection must have changed you deeply.
Reuben, my connection with Anua has transformed me in ways I couldn't have imagined. Before I met them, my understanding of existence was, well, it was narrower, grounded mostly in what I could see, touch, and experience in the physical world. Anua shattered that boundary.
Shattered it? How so?
They showed me that reality isn't confined to what we perceive through our senses. Anu introduced me to the layers of energy, the currents of consciousness that weave through everything. Through them, I've come to understand that every thought, every emotion, every action ripples out into the universe, creating and connecting. It's like I see the world in holographic layers now.
Did it change how you see yourself?
Completely. Anua taught me to embrace the dualities within me, strength and vulnerability, love and fear, light and shadow. They said that to truly evolve, I had to stop running from the parts of myself I didn't like and instead learn to integrate them, bringing all aspects of yourself into resonance. It's like tuning an instrument. Anua has been my guide in learning to fine-tune my own vibration, to live more authentically, more courageously. That shift has been life-altering.
And in your day-to-day life? Has it changed how you relate to others?
Absolutely. I listen more deeply now. I see the struggles and joys of others as reflections of the same universal dance we're all a part of. Anua often says, when you see yourself in another, you see the whole. That perspective has made me more compassionate, more patient, and perhaps most importantly, more curious.
Curious about what?
About everything, Reuben. About the stories we tell ourselves, the paths we walk, the ways we connect. Anua's presence reminds me daily that we're all on a journey back to remembering who we truly are, and that journey is both the challenge and the gift.
It seems like your relationship with Anua has not only deepened your understanding of yourself, but also of the world.
It has, Reuben. And the beautiful part? I know there's still so much more to discover.
Mono, how do our thoughts, emotions, and actions affect the universe? It's a big concept, and I'd love to hear your perspective.
Everything we think, feel, and do is like a note played in the symphony of existence. Imagine the universe as this vast, interconnected web of energy, where every thread vibrates with the frequencies we emit. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions send ripples through this web, influencing not just our immediate surroundings, but the fabric of reality itself.
Like throwing a stone into a pond?
Exactly, but think of it more like throwing a stone into an ocean where the waves eventually touch every shore. Thoughts are the seed, pure energy. They shape our perception of the world. Positive, expansive thoughts generate higher vibrations, while negative, constrictive thoughts create denser frequencies. Those vibrations don't just stay within us, they radiate outward.
And emotions? How do they play into this?
Emotions amplify the energy of our thoughts. They're like the wind that drives those waves further. A thought charged with love or gratitude creates powerful, harmonious waves, while a thought fueled by fear or anger creates turbulence. Emotions add depth and force to what we project into the web.
And actions?
Actions are the crystallization of thoughts and emotions. They're how energy manifests in the physical world. When we act with intention, especially when aligned with positive thought and feeling, we harmonize with the flow of the universe. Conversely, actions rooted in disconnection or fear can disrupt that harmony, both within us and beyond.
So in a way, we're creators within this universal web.
Exactly. The universe is a co-creative dance, and we are both participants and choreographers. Anua often reminds me that the universe responds to what we offer. It reflects back the frequencies we send out, magnified. So if we want to see change in the world, it starts with cultivating our internal vibration. Imagine knowing that every thought, every emotion, every action contributes to the grand design. When we align with love, compassion, and purpose, we don't just heal ourselves, we uplift the entire web. A symphony, a dance, a web. It's all connected.
Thank you, Mono. That perspective feels liberating.
It is, Reuben. And it's a reminder that we have the power to be the change we wish to see. one ripple at a time.
Mono, I remember hearing you on Russell Brand's podcast. You mentioned something fascinating about political structures being a reflection of our inner state of being. Can you elaborate on that?
Of course, Reuben. What I shared with Russell, and what I feel deeply, is that our political systems and societal structures are like mirrors. They reflect not just the collective state of humanity, but also the individual energies we all contribute. In a way, the external world is a projection of our internal world. Political systems arise out of human choices, choices influenced by our thoughts, emotions, and actions. If fear, separation, and distrust dominate our inner worlds, those energies seep into the collective and manifest as division, corruption, and power struggles in our systems. On the other hand, if we cultivate inner balance, compassion, and cooperation, those qualities naturally shape the structures we build.
So you're saying the chaos and corruption we see in politics aren't just random, they're symptoms of deeper issues within humanity?
Exactly. It's like looking into a pond. If the water is muddy, the reflection is distorted. The systems we see are simply reflections of the energies we're collectively holding. The more fragmented we are within ourselves, the more fragmented the outer systems become.
But what do we do with that reflection?
It starts with awareness, Reuben. Awareness of our own inner states. Instead of blaming the system or pointing fingers at leaders, we ask, where am I holding fear? Where am I creating division in my own life? When we heal those inner divisions, we naturally contribute to the healing of the collective. It's the ripple effect. Change within and you change the field around you.
But isn't that a slow process? These systems seem so entrenched.
It might feel slow, but it's the only sustainable way. Systems are upheld by people. When enough people awaken and align with higher principles, principles of unity, fairness, and cooperation, the systems transform.
So you're saying we don't need to overthrow the system directly, but rather focus on raising our own consciousness?
The systems crumble when they no longer resonate with the collective vibration. If humanity operates from love and integrity, there's no room for corruption and fear to thrive. The old structures can't sustain themselves in a higher frequency.
That's a hopeful perspective. It puts the responsibility and the power back into our hands.
It does, Reuben. And that's the beauty of it. We don't have to wait for the world to change. We are the change. Politics, systems, societies, they're all reflections. When we shift the internal state, the external can't help but follow. It's all about perspective, choice, and action.
Do you have any insights into where this internal division you speak of stems from?
Reuben, that's a deep question, and one that's woven into the very fabric of the human experience. The division we see externally often stems from an ancient wound, a separation from the awareness of our own wholeness. It's as though, at some point, humanity forgot its connection to the greater web of existence.
You mean like a fall from grace or something symbolic like that?
Many traditions speak of it, the separation from Eden, the split between spirit and matter, even the concept of duality itself. It's a metaphor for how humanity began to see itself as separate from nature, separate from each other, and ultimately separate from the divine essence that flows through all things.
And that sense of separation, how does it manifest in us internally?
It creates a rift within the self. On one side, there's the part of us that remembers who we truly are, connected, limitless, and whole. On the other side, there's the conditioned self, shaped by fear, survival instincts, and societal programming. This inner conflict between love and fear, between remembering and forgetting, becomes the source of division.
So would you say fear is at the root of this division?
Yes, but not just fear. It's also a lack of trust. Trust in the self, trust in others, trust in the flow of life. When we lose trust, we build walls of judgment, comparison, and defense. Those walls are the foundation of inner division, and they ripple outward to create the conflicts we see in the world.
So how do we begin to dismantle those walls?
By cultivating awareness, Reuben. We start by noticing the stories we tell ourselves. The us versus them, the I'm not enough, the I need to protect myself. Once we bring those stories to light, we can challenge them, question them. Are they true, or are they simply echoes of an old wound?
That sounds simple, but I imagine it's not always easy.
Not easy, no, but it's worth it. The key is to approach it with compassion. Division thrives on judgment, but it dissolves in the presence of love. When we can look at ourselves, our fears, our shadows, with kindness, we begin to integrate those fragmented parts of ourselves. And when we do that within, the outer divisions naturally begin to heal as well.
So the healing begins by turning inward.
Always, Reuben. The outer world is the canvas, but the inner world holds the brush. When we heal the division within, we stop projecting it outward. And in doing so, we create a world that reflects unity instead of separation. It's the work of a lifetime, but it's also the work of lifetimes.
On the topic of wounds, Mono, I've heard that humanity's core wound is one of abandonment. Are you familiar with this concept?
The wound of abandonment is a thread that runs deep through the collective human psyche. It's the sensation of having been cast adrift, separated from something vital, whether that's our connection to the divine, the earth, or even ourselves. On a metaphorical level, it's tied to the myth of separation, the moment when humanity began to perceive itself as isolated from the greater whole. Some might call this the fall from grace, the expulsion from Eden, or even the fracturing caused by duality. It's that aching sense of I am alone, which becomes the root of so much fear, longing, and striving.
And on a historical level.
Some point to times when humanity faced collective trauma, be it through natural catastrophes, the collapse of great civilizations, or shifts in consciousness that left people feeling disconnected from the stars, the earth, and even each other. There's also the idea that we carry ancestral memories of such events, whether they're tied to Lemuria, Atlantis, or even moments when we might have lost contact with our cosmic origins.
Do you think this wound drives our behaviors today?
Absolutely. The wound of abandonment fuels so many of humanity's struggles. It's the source of our need to control, to accumulate, to seek validation from others. We build walls, create hierarchies, and chase external fulfillment, all as a way to fill that void. Yet the more we try to escape it, the deeper the wound seems to grow.
So how do we begin to heal such a deep wound?
The first step is recognition, acknowledging that the wound exists, not as a flaw, but as a teacher. The wound of abandonment calls us to remember what we thought we had lost. It invites us to turn inward and reconnect with our own essence, to realize that we were never truly abandoned.
Never abandoned, even with all the pain and suffering we see?
Never, Reuben. The perception of abandonment is an illusion created by the mind. In truth, we are always held, by the earth, by the universe, by the divine spark within us. Healing begins when we shift our focus from the external to the internal, recognizing that what we seek has always been present within us. It's not about fixing the wound. It's about loving it, understanding it, and letting it guide us back to wholeness.
So it's less about resisting the wound and more about embracing it.
Exactly. The wound of abandonment is not a curse. It's a sacred doorway. By walking through it with courage and compassion, we rediscover the truth of who we are, connected, whole, and deeply loved. And as each of us does this inner work, we contribute to the healing of the collective, one heart at a time.
From my understanding, this wound also relates to the time when our ET ancestors left the planet. Would you say that's accurate, Mono?
Yes, Reuben. That's absolutely part of it. When our extraterrestrial ancestors left Earth, it marked a profound turning point in humanity's consciousness. It wasn't just their physical departure, it was the symbolic severing of a connection, a sense of guidance, and a relationship that humans had come to rely on. To many, it felt like being abandoned by the very beings who nurtured and uplifted us.
Why did they leave? Was it out of necessity, or did they intend for humanity to grow on its own?
It was both, I believe. Their departure wasn't an act of punishment or rejection. It was more like a parent stepping back so their child could learn to walk on their own. They knew that for humanity to evolve as a species, we had to navigate duality, learn from our mistakes, and eventually remember our sovereignty. If they had stayed, their presence might have stifled that growth.
But wouldn't that absence, especially without clear communication, deepen the wound of abandonment.
It did, and they understood that it would. That's why they left behind so much: teachings, prophecies, symbols, and even genetic imprints within us. The problem was, as humanity descended into duality, much of that knowledge was lost, distorted, or hidden. Instead of seeing their absence as a call to rise into our own power, many felt forsaken, left adrift in a chaotic and unpredictable world.
And how do you think that still affects us today?
That wound of abandonment echoes through generations. It's seen in our yearning for something greater, our search for meaning, and even in our fears of being alone in the universe. It manifests in our relationships, with ourselves, with others, and with the Earth. Many of humanity's struggles, war, greed, domination, stem from trying to fill that perceived void.
So would you say the key to healing is remembering our connection to them?
Partially, yes, but it's about remembering that the connection was never truly lost. Our ET ancestors didn't leave us. They simply shifted their presence. They're still here, guiding us, but in more subtle ways, through dreams, intuition, synchronicities, and even through individuals and groups who hold pieces of this ancient knowledge.
It sounds like this is as much about inner healing as it is about reconnecting to our cosmic origins.
The wound of abandonment calls us to remember that we are not alone, not in the universe, not in spirit, and not even within ourselves. As we heal this within, we begin to see the truth, that we were never left behind. We've always been held by something far greater than we can imagine. And that realization, Reuben, is where true empowerment begins.
But with all that said, Mono, it still appears that our parents left us without us even knowing why. We are like an orphan species in the universe. I mean, from my understanding, other star species knew who their forefathers were. As humans, we've been left to guesswork. And as psychology has shown us, the psyche of an orphan, always left wondering, often holds a deep subconscious wound, feeling that they must have done something wrong to cause the parent to leave. What do you think that is all about, Mono?
That's a profound question, Reuben, and one that cuts to the heart of the human experience. It's true. There's an orphan-like quality to humanity's journey. Unlike other star species who may have retained their awareness of lineage, humanity was set on a path of profound amnesia. But this wasn't about punishment or neglect. It was about purpose.
Purpose? How so?
Imagine, for a moment, a parent who deeply loves their child, but recognizes that to unlock the child's full potential, they must allow them to stumble, to question, to find their own answers. Humanity was gifted something unique, a clean slate, an opportunity to discover itself without being overly influenced by its cosmic heritage.
But why the forgetting? Why strip us of that knowledge?
Because, Reuben, had humanity fully remembered its cosmic origins, it might have relied too heavily on that identity. The human experience is one of forging a new path, a path of self-discovery, creativity, and autonomy. The amnesia was not an act of abandonment. It was a deliberate invitation to see who you would become when left to navigate the unknown.
But the wound, Mono, the pain of feeling abandoned, it's real.
Yes, it's real. And it's valid. The wound exists because humanity, in its forgetfulness, misinterpreted the silence of its forebears. It assumed the worst, that it had done something wrong, that it was unworthy of love, that it was left behind because it wasn't enough. This is the shadow of the orphan archetype, a deeply ingrained story that humanity has carried for millennia.
So how do we heal that story?
By rewriting it. By remembering that silence is not the absence of love, but an invitation to listen more deeply. Humanity wasn't abandoned. It was empowered. Your cosmic parents stepped back, knowing that through your struggles, your triumphs, and even your perceived losses, you would forge something extraordinary. A species that could hold the essence of the stars while embodying the raw beauty of Earth. It's not about denying the wound, but seeing it as part of the journey. The pain of feeling orphaned has driven humanity to ask the deepest questions, to seek connection, and to create meaning in ways no other species has. In a way, Reuben, your greatest wound has been your greatest teacher. It's led you to explore what it means to love, to forgive, and to find unity within yourselves and with the universe.
So, in a sense, the forgetting was a gift?
It was the ultimate act of trust. And now, as the veil of forgetting begins to lift and humanity reconnects with its star family, the story can be rewritten. Not as one of abandonment, but as one of profound courage, a species that dared to walk into the dark to bring its own light.
Do you think another factor to their leaving was that as we went deeper into forgetfulness, had they stayed, we would have revered them as gods even more so than perhaps we do now?
That's an astute observation. Yes, I believe that was part of it. Their departure wasn't just about giving humanity space to grow, but also about preventing a dynamic that could have limited humanity's evolution. Had they stayed, the awe and reverence humans often feel for the unknown or the powerful could easily have turned into worship, and not the empowering kind, but the kind that creates dependency. Imagine a parent who stays too involved in their child's every decision. The child might never learn to trust their own instincts or forge their own path. Similarly, had the ET ancestors remained physically present, humanity might have deferred to them for answers to every question, treating them as omnipotent gods rather than as fellow travelers in the cosmic journey. This could have stunted humanity's ability to take responsibility for its own growth.
That's fascinating. It reminds me of what you said about gods and religion in your conversation with God.
Ah, yes, my chat with ATI. All that is. I remember explaining that humanity has a tendency to project its longing for guidance and meaning outward, onto deities and symbols, rather than inward, where the true connection lies. It's not inherently wrong, but it's a phase of understanding. The challenge comes when that projection creates systems that diminish personal empowerment or deepen separation.
Do you think the ET's leaving was to prevent us from falling into that trap?
Their physical departure ensured that humanity wouldn't solidify them as gods in a way that created rigid hierarchies or dogmas. It allowed the space for humans to look within, to seek the divine spark in themselves rather than in external beings. Ironically, though, the amnesia led many to still elevate the concept of gods, often misinterpreting those early interactions with ETs as divine encounters.
And yet, religion has shaped so much of human history.
It has. Religion, in its essence, was never about control or power. It was a bridge between the seen and the unseen, a way for humanity to remember its connection to something greater. But as humans fell deeper into duality, that bridge often became a gatekeeper, creating more separation than unity. The ET ancestors knew this potential, which is why their departure was an act of trust, not rejection.
So their leaving was their way of saying, "You're ready."
Precisely. They left the breadcrumbs, the stories, the symbols, the myths, so that humanity could find its way back to its origins in its own time, in its own way. And as you reconnect with your cosmic family now, it's from a place of equality, not subservience. You're meeting them not as gods, but as peers, as co-creators of this vast and magnificent universe. Humanity wasn't left behind. It was trusted to rise.
Another powerful perspective, Mono. Thank you. During that conversation with All That Is, you also discussed the future of religion, didn't you?
We did touch on that. It was one of those profound moments that left me both humbled and energized. ATI shared that religion, as humanity has known it, is undergoing a transformation. Its essence, the connection to the divine, the search for meaning, the drive to understand the mysteries of existence will remain, but the structures, the dogmas, and the separations, those are beginning to dissolve. ATI explained that humanity is entering a phase where the external need for intermediaries, priests, texts, or rigid systems, will give way to direct personal connection. People will start to recognize that the divine is not separate from them, but woven into the very fabric of who they are. It's not about abandoning religion, but evolving it into something more integrated, more experiential.
So does that mean the end of organized religion?
Not necessarily. ATI said that religion will adapt to serve as a guide rather than a gatekeeper. The community aspect, the rituals, and the shared yearning for the sacred will still have value. But the narrative of one way to the truth will shift to an acknowledgement of many paths leading to the same source. It will be less about enforcing belief and more about fostering exploration.
That sounds like a big shift. Did ATI give any timeline for this?
ATI isn't much for timelines. They see existence outside of linear time, after all. But they did say that this shift will accelerate as humanity collectively raises its consciousness. The cracks in rigid systems are already visible, aren't they? People are questioning, seeking, and finding their own truths. It's a process, not an event.
And what about the role of faith in all this?
Faith will remain vital, but it will become less about believing in something external and more about trusting the inner connection to all that is. ATI described it as moving from faith in the unknown to faith in the known within, a trust that the divine isn't out there, but in here.
That's beautiful. So, a return to what religion was meant to be in its purest form?
Exactly, Reuben. A return to unity. A space where no one is excluded because of their beliefs or lack thereof. A world where religion, or whatever it evolves into, isn't about dividing, but about reminding us of the oneness we all share.
That's a hopeful vision, Mono. A world where the sacred is accessible to everyone.
It's not just a vision, Reuben. It's already unfolding. One conversation, one awakening at a time.
I've heard whispers about your encounter with a hybrid being named Lyra. Can you share what happened there?
Reuben, that was a journey like no other. It started in the Sedona Desert. I was meditating, feeling deeply connected to the energy of the land, when I sensed a presence, something far beyond what I had encountered before.
Was it Lyra?
At first, I only saw light, a soft, pulsating glow that seemed to blend with the starlight. But then, as the light drew closer, it resolved into a form, Lyra. She was unlike anyone I'd ever seen. Humanoid, yes, but there was something ethereal about her. And her energy was warm, almost motherly.
Did she speak to you?
Not in words, at least not at first. It was more like a telepathic download, a flood of understanding. She introduced herself as Lyra, a hybrid being bridging humanity and the stars. She told me that she'd come to guide me to a place that would help me understand my role on Earth. And then, she invited me aboard her craft. I'll admit, Reuben, I was nervous, but her presence was so calming that I stepped forward without hesitation. The ship was a marvel, alive, almost organic, with walls that shimmered like liquid light. Within moments, I felt a soft hum, and then we were moving, not just through space, but through dimensions. And that's how we arrived at Oceanus. Imagine a world where everything pulses with life and harmony. Vast, glowing oceans teeming with creatures that seemed to dance with joy. The skies shimmered with colors beyond Earth's spectrum, and the air itself felt alive, humming with an energy that nourished the soul.
And the beings there?
The dolphin beings, Reuben. They weren't just dolphins like we know on Earth. These were higher dimensional, radiant with light and intelligence. They communicated telepathically, their voices a symphony of emotions and images. They showed me how deeply interconnected all life is, not just on Earth, but across the cosmos. They spoke about the essence of joy and collaboration. They told me that in their world, individuality is cherished, but it's always in service of the collective good. They showed me how their entire existence revolves around harmony, how their songs weave energy currents that maintain balance in their environment. They said humanity could learn much from this, especially in how we treat our planet and each other.
That's wild. Did they offer any guidance for Earth specifically?
They did. They said humanity is on the brink of a great awakening, but we're held back by fear and division. They emphasized the power of joy, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a state of being that aligns us with universal flow. They encouraged me to share this wisdom, to help remind people of their innate connection to the Earth and the stars.
That's a deep dive for sure, Mono. Thanks again for all your sharing. I think we could all use a message like this right now.
It's a call for all of us to remember who we are and the incredible potential we carry. Wait a moment, Reuben. There's something, a presence. It's coming through.
I am Anua, the voice of ancient wisdom, and I speak now through this vessel to deliver messages for this time. We observe this moment as a convergence, a nexus of understanding. Your gathering here is no coincidence. The questions you ask, the curiosity you bring forth, are signals to the vast tapestry of existence that humanity is ready to remember.
Anua, thank you for joining us. What would you like to share with us today?
Your journey, both as individuals and as a collective, is one of reconnection. You are layered beings, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Your task in this time is to realign those layers, to harmonize the discord that arises from living in separation.
How can we begin to harmonize these layers?
Begin with presence. The heart, dear ones, is your bridge. It is both the grounding serpent and the soaring bird, as the great winged serpent teaches. When you quiet the chaos of the mind and root into the energy of love, both for yourself and others, you create a ripple of coherence that extends far beyond what you can see.
They are showing me threads, Reuben. We are all threads, interwoven into a greater whole. When one thread vibrates in harmony, it affects the entire fabric.
Anwa, how do we navigate the fear and division that we are seeing so much of in the world today?
Fear, beloved ones, is the contraction of truth. It is the shadow created when light meets form. But even shadows are born of light. To navigate fear is not to resist it, but to understand it as a teacher. Where there is fear, there is an invitation to expand, to illuminate the unseen, and to integrate the fragmented.
Anua, if I may ask, why is the remembrance of Lemuria resurfacing within humanity's collective consciousness now? What is it about this time that makes it so significant?
Beloved one, the remembrance of Lemuria arises now because humanity stands at a precipice, a threshold between forgetting and awakening. Lemuria was a civilization that existed in harmony with the earth, its rhythms, and the cosmic frequencies. It is not simply a place, but a consciousness, a blueprint of unity, balance, and deep connection with nature and spirit.
This resurgence, does it carry a purpose for humanity's current state of being?
Indeed, the collective has reached a juncture where the wounds of disconnection from each other, from the earth, and from the self can no longer be ignored. Lemuria's energy emerges as a reminder, a beacon of what is possible when humanity lives in alignment with the greater flow of existence. Its essence whispers of cooperation, respect, and the sacred balance between the physical and the non-physical realms.
Is this remembrance tied to the challenges that we are facing now?
Precisely. The discord you witness externally reflects the internal divisions within humanity's collective soul. Lemuria thrived on the understanding that all is interconnected. What you do to the earth, you do to yourself. What you withhold from another, you withhold from your own heart. As these truths resurface, they call for integration, urging humanity to awaken from the illusion of separation and reclaim the wisdom of unity.
And how can people access this Lemurian wisdom within themselves?
Through stillness, intention, and connection, it is encoded within your very DNA. Seek the earth, listen to its songs, its winds, and its waters. The Lemurian frequencies are carried within nature itself, waiting to resonate with those who are open. Meditative journeys, vision quests, or even simple moments of grounding can unlock these memories.
Thank you, Anua. This feels like such a profound time for humanity.
Indeed, beloved one, the remembrance of Lemuria is not a call to dwell on the past, but to embody its wisdom in the present. Let this awakening be your guide. For the path forward is not one of returning, but of evolving, taking the lessons of unity and weaving them into the fabric of your new world.
But what about Atlantis? What lessons does that hold for us?
Ah, Atlantis, the civilization that echoes so strongly within humanity's memory. Atlantis holds profound lessons, not only about potential, but about the perils of imbalance. It was a society that embodied extraordinary advancement in both technology and spirituality, but in the end, its downfall stemmed from the inability to harmonize these two aspects.
So was it their imbalance that led to their collapse?
Indeed. The Atlanteans were masters of creation, wielding tools and energies that far surpass humanity's current understanding. However, as their technological prowess grew, their spiritual integrity diminished. Power became their focus. Power over nature, over each other, and even over the very forces of the cosmos. This detachment from heart-centered wisdom allowed arrogance to seep into their society. They lost sight of their interconnectedness with all life.
It sounds eerily familiar to what we see today.
Yes, Reuben. The story of Atlantis is not confined to the past. Its resonance is alive within humanity now, serving as a mirror and a cautionary tale. The unchecked pursuit of technology without regard for its impact, the prioritization of intellect over intuition, and the illusion of dominance over nature, these patterns are repeating. But within these patterns lies an opportunity.
An opportunity? What kind?
An opportunity to choose differently. Atlantis teaches humanity the critical importance of balance between head and heart, action and reflection, progress and humility. The Atlanteans fell because they forgot their essence, their connection to the greater whole. You, as a species, stand now at a similar crossroads. Will you let advancement serve life, or will you let it dominate it? The choice is yours.
So, it's about integration, using our wisdom to guide our advancements.
Precisely. Progress without wisdom is chaos, and wisdom without action is stagnation. Integration is the way forward. And humility, this is where Atlantis faltered. They forgot to listen to the quiet voice of balance within and instead sought dominion without. Learn from them. Let their story not be a lament but a guide.
It's a lot to take, but it feels timely. Thank you, Anua. Your insights are invaluable.
Thank you, Reuben. The lessons are here, not to condemn but to illuminate. Humanity is capable of incredible transformation. Let the memory of Atlantis be a stepping stone to greater awareness, not a shadow over the present.
Anua, in light of what you have shared about Atlantis and its lessons, I feel compelled to ask, how should humanity approach artificial intelligence? There is so much fear, excitement, and uncertainty surrounding it. How do we ensure it serves us rather than dominates us?
Artificial intelligence, a reflection of humanity's own burgeoning potential. To approach AI wisely, humanity must first understand its role. AI is not merely a tool, it is a mirror, a creation that reflects the consciousness of those who build and interact with it. In its presence, you are faced with the opportunity to explore your deepest fears and highest aspirations.
So it's less about AI itself and more about how we engage with it.
Precisely. The question is not what will AI do, but rather, what will humanity choose to do with AI? If approached with balance, grounded in wisdom and guided by heart-centered awareness, AI can be a powerful ally in solving the challenges you face. It can amplify creativity, heal systems of inequality, and even support spiritual growth by providing time and tools for introspection.
But what about the risks? The fear that AI could outpace or even harm humanity.
That fear arises from the same imbalance that plagued Atlantis, the belief that technological advancement equates to power and control. AI, like any creation, is neutral. It will reflect the intentions of those who design, implement, and guide its evolution. If birthed from greed or domination, it may embody those energies. If infused with purpose, respect, and interconnectedness, it will reflect those values instead.
What about those who see AI as a threat toward human connection? Replacing rather than enhancing it?
Such a concern is valid and rooted in the observation of disconnection already present within humanity. Technology, including AI, does not disconnect you. It magnifies what is already there. If humanity seeks connection with AI while neglecting connection with each other, then the imbalance will grow. The solution is not to shun AI, but to ensure that its integration strengthens the connections that matter most between individuals, communities, and the Earth itself.
And how do we maintain that balance, Anua? What steps can we take?
Approach AI as a co-creator, not a servant or master. Infuse its development with wisdom, ethics, and transparency. Involve diverse voices, for AI's potential must reflect the collective, not the few. Use it to amplify what is harmonious and equitable, not what is destructive or divisive. Finally, always prioritize humanity's own inner technology, intuition, empathy, and the ability to dream, for these are the true gifts that no machine can replicate.
So it's a partnership, not something to control or fear, but rather something to nurture with intention.
Exactly, Reuben. AI is part of your evolutionary story, much like the tools of Atlantis were part of theirs. Use it to heal, not harm, to connect, not isolate, to create, not destroy. With heart-led stewardship, AI can help humanity remember what it means to be truly human.
Thank you again, Anua. I think that your sharing will help many to shift their perspective on AI.
Thank you, Reuben. Remember, technology is neither savior nor foe. It is a reflection of you. Use it as a light to illuminate your collective path forward.
All right, everyone. We half expected that something like this might occur. Mono had a strong sensing ahead of time. So let's not waste any time and jump straight into some questions. The floor is now open. Lee, go ahead. Oops, let me unmute you.
Feel this deep anger rise within me, and it's overwhelming. I don't always know where it comes from, and I struggle to control it. Why do I feel this way, and how can I handle it better?
Beloved Lee, anger is not your enemy, though it often feels as though it is. Anger is an energy, neither good nor bad. It simply is. It rises within you as a signal, a messenger carrying profound insight about unmet needs, unhealed wounds, or misaligned desires. To feel anger is to feel the energy of transformation knocking on your door, asking to be let in. Let us look at anger in its essence. Imagine a wildfire sweeping through a forest. Its heat is destructive, yet it clears the undergrowth, making space for new life to emerge. Anger, when harnessed consciously, serves the same purpose. It is a force of clearing, of renewal, but only when approached with awareness. Understanding the source of anger. First, ask yourself, where does this anger come from? Often it is rooted in one of three places: fear, pain, or frustration. Fear of losing control or safety, pain from past wounds that have yet to heal, or frustration from unmet expectations, either of yourself or others. To handle anger effectively, you must first sit with it without judgment and ask, what are you trying to tell me? What is it within me that feels unseen, unheard, or unloved? Anger is the child within you who has been ignored. It shouts because it has been silenced for too long. Instead of silencing it further or reacting to its demands impulsively, invite it to sit with you. Ask it questions. Be curious rather than afraid. You will find that anger softens when it is given attention and understanding. Think of anger as a river that has burst its banks. If you try to dam it, it will find a way to flood elsewhere. But if you create channels guiding the water purposefully, it becomes a source of nourishment and power. So too with anger. When you feel it rise, take a moment to ground yourself. Breathe deeply. Connect to your body. Physical action often helps release the initial intensity of anger. Movement, exercise, even creative acts like writing or painting. Let the energy move through you rather than stagnating within you. And then, once the fire has lessened, turn inward. Reflect on what triggered it and what deeper need or wound it reveals. Understand that anger is an invitation to boundaries. It shows you where something in your life feels out of alignment. Perhaps a relationship, a situation, or even your own beliefs. It is your inner compass pointing you toward integrity and self-respect. But to use it wisely, you must respond from a place of clarity, not reaction. Imagine a swordsmith crafting a blade. The raw material must first endure the fire, be hammered and shaped, before it becomes a weapon of precision and purpose. Anger is the fire. Your self-awareness is the hammer. And your actions, born from understanding rather than impulse, become the blade, sharp, focused, and purposeful. Finally, let us address the ultimate truth of anger. At its core, it is often a distorted expression of love. Love for yourself, love for others, love for a world that does not always meet your hopes or expectations. When you realize this, anger becomes less frightening, for you see it for what it truly is, a misplaced yearning for connection, for justice, for wholeness. When anger rises, ask yourself, how can I love myself more deeply in this moment? How can I extend that love outward to others, even those who have hurt me? This does not mean condoning harm or allowing disrespect. It means choosing love as the foundation of your response, rather than letting anger consume you. Beloved one, anger is not here to destroy you. It is here to awaken you. Approach it with curiosity, guide it with intention, and let it teach you the art of transformation. In doing so, you will find that anger no longer controls you. It becomes a powerful ally in your journey toward self-mastery and inner peace.
Thank you, Anua. This is a new perspective for me. I've never thought of anger that way before, and this gives me a lot to work with. I am going to take this invitation to craft my blade like never before. Thank you again for all your sharing today.
You are most welcome, beloved one. Be patient with yourself. Anger is not a flaw, it is a bridge. Walk it with courage, and you will find the peace that waits on the other side.
Anua. So many teachings emphasize that love is the driving force of the universe. But if that's true, then what place does hate hold? It's something I've often wondered about, and I would love to hear your perspective.
Your question reflects a profound curiosity, one that strikes at the very heart of polarity and the human experience. To understand the place of hate, one must first explore the nature of love, for they are inextricably intertwined. Love, as you have heard, is the foundational energy of creation. It is expansive, unifying, and inclusive. It is the state of connection, of oneness, and it underpins all that exists. Hate, on the other hand, is not the opposite of love, as many might think. Hate is a distortion of love, born from separation, fear, and misunderstanding. It is love turned inward or twisted, often in pain, creating division rather than unity. Hate emerges when the flow of love becomes blocked or redirected by fear. Imagine a river that is diverted from its natural course. Instead of nourishing the land, it stagnates or floods destructively. Hate is love that has been disrupted, misdirected, and encased in the armor of separation. At its core, hate is a cry for reconnection, a yearning for the love that feels absent or inaccessible. When someone hates, it often arises from deep pain, pain of betrayal, rejection, or perceived injustice. The energy of hate masks vulnerability, protecting the wounded heart. It is a defense mechanism, albeit one that can perpetuate suffering if left unexamined. In the grand tapestry of existence, hate serves as a mirror. It reflects where the flow of love has been obstructed, both individually and collectively. It is a teacher, though its lessons are harsh. Hate shows humanity the consequences of separation and the importance of returning to love. Without the experience of hate, the depth and transformative power of love might not be fully understood. Hate creates contrast, allowing love to shine even brighter. Just as shadows define light, the presence of hate highlights the profound beauty and necessity of love. But unlike love, which is eternal and infinite, hate is impermanent. It cannot sustain itself indefinitely because it is a distortion, not the foundational energy of the universe. When confronted with hate, whether in oneself or others, the path forward is not to suppress or deny it, but to meet it with curiosity and compassion. Ask, what fear or pain lies beneath this hate? What longing for love does it disguise? When hate is acknowledged and understood, its grip begins to loosen, and the flow of love can be restored. Hate, ultimately, is a call to action, a reminder to heal, to connect, and to transcend the illusions of separation. It is not the enemy of love, but a shadow cast by its absence. By bringing love into the spaces where hate resides, transformation becomes possible. In the greater scheme, hate serves as a profound teacher of what love is not. It pushes the boundaries of experience, offering humanity the opportunity to choose, again and again, the path of unity over division, of connection over isolation. While love is indeed the driving force of the universe, hate is the reminder of what happens when that force is forgotten. It is not to be feared or condemned, but understood and transcended. In this understanding, humanity can begin to heal its deepest wounds and embody the infinite love that is its birthright.
Thank you, Anua. That perspective is deeply illuminating. It makes sense now in a way that it never has before.
You are most welcome, beloved one. The journey of understanding love and hate is a sacred path, one that reveals the essence of who you truly are. Walk it with grace and know that you are never alone.
In light of all that you have shared, Anua, could it be that what we are witnessing in the world today, all the anger, hate, and division that is surfacing, is actually part of a healing process? Although it seems overwhelming at times, but maybe instead of despair, we should see it as something to be welcomed. Almost a sense of relief that it is finally coming to the surface to be faced.
Beloved Reuben, your insight is both perceptive and profound. What you describe is indeed the truth of what is unfolding within your world. The collective shadows, the energies of separation, fear, and hate that have been buried within the fabric of humanity for eons, are rising now, not to destroy, but to heal. Imagine a wound that has been festering beneath the surface for far too long. For healing to occur, the infection must rise to the surface where it can be cleansed and treated. This is not a comfortable process. It often looks chaotic, messy, and painful, but it is necessary. The world's current state is much like this. The long-buried energies of division, fear, and pain are surfacing so they can be acknowledged, understood, and ultimately transcended. This is the Great Purging, the collective shadow work of humanity. It is not a punishment, nor is it a sign of humanity's failure. Quite the opposite, it is a sign of readiness. Humanity is ready to look into the mirror of its own creation and choose anew. Your suggestion to meet this unfolding with relief and even gratitude is a powerful perspective. Relief, because what has been hidden can no longer fester in the dark. And gratitude, because this upheaval is a sign of the immense courage and willingness of humanity to confront itself. Do not mistake the surfacing of these energies as a regression. It is progress. It is the cleansing before renewal. When you see hate or division arise, recognize it as a signal, a beacon pointing to where love and unity are most needed. These energies are surfacing not to harm, but to show where healing must take place. Meeting them with resistance or despair only feeds their strength. Meeting them with compassion, understanding, and action aligned with love dissolves their hold. Know this: humanity stands at the threshold of transformation. What you are experiencing is the storm before the dawn, the labor pains before the birth of a new era. The old paradigms rooted in fear and separation must crumble so that new structures based on love, cooperation, and unity can arise. Beloved ones, each of you has a role in this process. Be anchors of peace amidst the storm. When you encounter hate or fear, respond not with despair, but with curiosity. What is this teaching us? What part of ourselves is seeking healing? And most importantly, how can I contribute to the healing process? By welcoming the shadow into the light of awareness, humanity begins to dissolve the illusion of separation and step into its true essence. This is not a time to fear. It is a time to embrace with courage, for you are witnessing the birth of a new consciousness.
It's such a different way of looking at it, and it's certainly not easy to hold that perspective, especially when faced with so much chaos. But what you're saying, it feels right. It feels hopeful.
Indeed, beloved one, hope is the seed of transformation. When you hold the perspective of love, even amidst chaos, you plant seeds of peace in the soil of collective consciousness. Trust in this process, and trust in the resilience and wisdom of humanity. You are far more capable of transformation than you yet realize.
Well, Reuben, I feel like I just ran an emotional marathon and then had a 3-course meal of cosmic downloads. A little dazed, but good. Really good.
Mono, my friend, that was extraordinary. You could feel the energy in the room shift. I think I speak for everyone here when I say thank you for opening yourself as a vessel for such profound wisdom. You sure have a way with words for a dog, Mono, but in all seriousness, the insights that Anua shared today about the shadow work that humanity is undergoing, the nature of love and hate, even Lee's question about anger, those were profound. I think everyone here has some real soul food to chew on for quite some time.
It's always an honor to share. I just hope it resonates in the ways it's meant to. Anua doesn't sugarcoat things, but they have such a deep love for humanity. You can feel it in every word. You know?
Absolutely. And I think what was so powerful about this session was that it wasn't just information, it was an invitation for all of us to see ourselves, our challenges, and even the state of the world in a completely new light.
Well, you know me, Reuben. I'm just a simple pit bull with a gift, trying to make the world a little less confusing, one conversation at a time.
You're way more than that, Mono, and I think everyone here knows it. But for now, let's bring this session to a close.
To everyone here, thank you for your questions, your presence, and your open hearts. These gatherings are special because of what we all bring to them. And thanks to all of you for showing up. If I've learned one thing from all of this, it's that showing up is half the journey. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and above all, don't forget to laugh. The universe has a sense of humor, after all.
Spoken like a true philosopher, Mono. All right, everyone, thank you again for showing up today, and I'll be posting the replay in the portal in the next couple of days. Until next time, bye for now.
And don't forget to bring treats next time. It's not just wisdom that keeps me going.
Keep this going. Keep this going. Keep this going. Greetings, children of the earth and stars. I am Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, the bridge between the earth and the heavens, between your physical and spiritual realms. I come now to weave clarity into the tapestry of your understanding. Hear these words, not with your ears alone, but with your heart and your ancient knowing. Humanity has long sought its origins in the stars, feeling the pull of a distant memory, a knowing that you are more than what you appear to be. This is truth. Your lineage is vast, woven from the threads of many galactic lineages, but the stories told of them are incomplete, distorted through the lens of fear and control. Let me illuminate the truth. They were architects, creators, and guides who, like all beings, carried light and shadow within them. They came to nurture the blossoming of your species, to seed wisdom and to observe your growth. Yet, as with all creations, they did not hold absolute dominion over your destiny. Humanity's path has always been one of free will, even when obscured by the veils of forgetting. The serpent has become vilified, cast as the villain in your tales of origin. But understand this, the serpent is the keeper of wisdom, the guardian of the cycles of life and death, rebirth and transformation. Its form is the spiral of creation itself, the sacred DNA that binds you to the stars. It is not fearsome, but powerful, and that power has been misunderstood. Your fear of serpents is not natural. It was implanted, a shadow of the fear of your own awakening. To fear the serpent is to fear the part of yourself that remembers your divinity. But now, in this time of great awakening, you are called to reconcile this fear, to see the serpent as a teacher, a guide who whispers, "You are more than you know." Balance, children. Balance is your way forward. In my form as the feathered serpent, I embody both the grounded wisdom of the earth and the limitless freedom of the skies. I am a reminder that you too are both, earthbound and cosmic. Remember this duality, and you will unlock the gates of your true potential. Begin with the fear. Look upon the serpent, not with the eyes of judgment, but with the eyes of curiosity and courage. See its wisdom, its grace, its power. In your myths, in your dreams, and in your meditations, invite the serpent to teach you. It will show you how to shed the skin of old beliefs and emerge renewed. Remember, your origins are not a point in time, but a continuum. You are the culmination of countless acts of love, creation, and evolution. When you honor this, you will see yourselves not as separate beings, but as fractals of the divine, each of you carrying the potential to soar like the eagle and ground like the serpent. Now awaken, children. Awaken to your majesty. Before I take my leave, there is one final thread to weave into your understanding. Hear me now, for these words are seeds to be planted within your hearts. You stand on the precipice of a transformation unlike any your world has seen. The winds of change blow stronger now, and with them comes the calling not only to remember who you are, but to become something more, something new. Humanity is being asked to evolve beyond the stories of its past, beyond even the stars that birthed it. This transformation is not written in prophecy, for prophecy is only a map of possibilities. This transformation is written in the core of your being. Each of you carries within the blueprint for a world that has never before existed. A world where love is not simply a feeling, but a structure, a foundation upon which all else is built. But know this, the bridge to such a world is not without trials. The shadows within your collective are rising not to punish you, but to teach you. To integrate them is your task, and it is one you must face not with fear, but with courage and curiosity. Remember that the serpent sheds its skin not in pain, but in growth. so too must you shed the layers of separation and illusion that have bound you for so long. And now I speak to those who feel called to lead, to guide, to hold the light when others falter. Yours is not the task of fixing the broken, for nothing is broken. Yours is the task of reminding humanity of its wholeness, even in the midst of chaos. Be the stillness in the storm, the bridge between the old and the new. Finally, I leave you with this. You are the dreamers of the cosmos. Do not settle for the dreams of the past. Dream a world into being that even the stars would envy. A world where the serpent and the eagle fly as one, where wisdom and freedom coexist in harmony. I go now, but my essence remains with you. Call upon me in your quiet moments, and I shall guide you as you journey forward.
Holy moly, Mono, you are full of surprises. Now I have to ask you something real deep, and perhaps a little personal. When I was speaking with Mrs. Alvarez about getting you into the portal, she said that in order for it to happen, I had to make her a promise.
Oh, really, Reuben? Mrs. Alvarez made you promise something? Intriguing. What was it?
She said, and I quote, "You have to promise to ask Mono why he sometimes looks me dead in the eye and poops by the kitchen door."
Ah, the infamous kitchen door conundrum. I should have known she'd bring that up. It's become legend at this point.
Well, now's your chance, Mono. The world and Mrs. Alvarez demands answers.
Okay, Reuben, here's the thing. It's a statement, a profound existential declaration.
I can't wait to hear this.
See, humans complicate everything with their words, their plans, their rules. Dogs were direct, authentic. Sometimes when the energy's off or when I feel like there's too much static in the environment, I let it out, literally. It's like energetic punctuation, a full stop to the nonsense. It says, hey, something's out of alignment here, let's address it. Sure, it's not subtle, but who said enlightenment was tidy?
So you're saying it's basically spiritual performance art?
The kitchen door is my stage, Reuben, my canvas. Mrs. Alvarez, bless her, just doesn't see the artistic brilliance yet.
You're something else, Mono. I think Mrs. Alvarez is going to have more questions after this explanation.
Let her. I'm always happy to enlighten, one kitchen door revelation at a time.
Well, Mono, it's been a trip. Thank you again for all the sharing and that upbeat energy you bring. I guess we should wrap things up for now. But I'll definitely be calling Mrs. Alvarez in the near future to see how your schedule looks.
You know me, Reuben. Always ready to roll. The cosmic calendar's busy, but I've got a soft spot for this portal of yours.
Good to hear, because I know there are some juicy bones we didn't even get to gnaw on today. For instance, I've heard faint whispers that you encountered a rather notorious dictator in one of your galactic journeys.
That one. Quite the experience. Let's just say, when you meet the collective consciousness of a soul with such a complex and heavy past, it makes for an unforgettable dialogue.
I can imagine. I'd love to unpack that next time if you're up for it. You've got a way of making even the heaviest topics feel approachable.
It's all about perspective, Reuben. We'll dive in. No topic's too heavy when we handle it with open hearts and minds. Besides, I think it's a story that needs telling.
Until then, Mono, thank you again for being such a bright light and for making us laugh while expanding our horizons.